Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to check your phone. The screen will glow, the room will stay comfortable, and you won't think twice about what lives in the dark. But here's the thing. The dark is not actually empty. And for most of human existence, your brain knew that in ways your modern life has almost made you forget. The real story of why you fear the dark is far stranger than anyone ever told you. It is not about ghosts. It is not about horror movies or childhood nightmares. It is about something encoded into your nervous system hundreds of thousands of years before you were born. Something that kept your ancestors alive long enough for you to exist. Let's go back. Not 100 years. Not 1,000. Think 200,000 years. You are on the African savannah. The sun is setting, and the world around you is not becoming quieter. It is becoming more dangerous. For most of human evolution, night was when you became prey. Leopards, lions, hyenas, they all have one crucial advantage over you after the sun goes down. They can see better than you can. Their eyes gather more light. Their pupils dilate wider. Their retinas are built for it, and they know it. They wait for it. Researchers studying human remains from early African sites have found evidence of large predator attacks going back hundreds of thousands of years. Anthropologist Robert Franciscus documented skeletal remains showing injuries consistent with nighttime predator encounters. Bite marks, fractures, patterns that tell a very specific story about who was hunting whom. The conclusion is hard to argue with. Early humans who took the darkness seriously survived. The ones who didn't disappeared before they could pass anything on. So your brain learned. Fast. Not over your lifetime, over generations, tens of thousands of generations, and the fear didn't go away because it couldn't. The ones without it left no descendants. The ones with it built fires, climbed trees, stayed alert, and they lived. This is what evolutionary biologists call a hardwired fear. It is different from a learned fear in one important way. A learned fear you can trace to an experience. A hardwired fear is already there when you arrive. You didn't have to survive a predator attack to fear what you can't see in the dark. You were born ready. Psychologist Arne Öhman spent decades studying exactly this. His research showed that humans acquire fear responses to evolutionarily ancient threats. Darkness, heights, snakes, spiders, far faster and far more durably than to modern dangers. He found that people could develop a conditioned fear response to a snake image after a single bad pairing. The same speed simply did not apply to images of cars or electrical outlets, even though those things are far more likely to kill you today. Your threat library is ancient. It is just running on modern hardware. But here is where it gets more interesting. The fear of the dark is not only about visible predators, it is about uncertainty, about what you cannot assess. Your visual system processes roughly 80% of all sensory experience. And when it goes partially offline in the dark, the older parts of your brain, the parts that predate reason, predate language, begin generating alternatives. Neuroscientist Dean Buonomano describes this as the brain running constant predictions. When there is nothing to see, the brain does not go quiet. It generates threat models. It fills the absence with possibility. And from an evolutionary standpoint, most of those possibilities should default to dangerous. It was always safer to assume the sound in the darkness was a predator than to assume it wasn't. False positives cost you a sleepless night. False negatives cost you your life. So the brain evolved a very deliberate bias. When it doesn't know, assume threat. When it can't see, stay alert. When the darkness is complete, wake up, tense up, and pay close attention. Your ancestors understood this, which is why they built fire. Not just for warmth, and not just for cooking. Fire pushed back the dark perimeter. It gave the camp a visible boundary. Within the ring of firelight, you could see, you could evaluate, you could react. Beyond it, the rules changed. Anthropological evidence from sites like Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa points to consistent human fire use going back at least 1 million years, possibly longer. Fire was not simply a food processing tool, it was psychological. It was a way of drawing a line between the known and the unknown, a way of saying, here we can see, out there we cannot. You still feel that line. Sit around a campfire tonight and notice what happens inside you. Something relaxes that you didn't realize was tense. That is not nostalgia. That is an ancient system recognizing a condition it was built to trust. Now pull back to your life today. You sleep in a sealed room, in a structure designed to protect you, in a city that keeps lights burning all night. Logically, you know nothing is approaching. And yet some part of you does not fully believe that. You hear a sound at 3 in the morning and you're awake instantly. You walk through a dark hallway, and you move slightly faster than necessary. You don't look into the corner of the room when the light is off. Not because you believe something is there, but because some part of your brain has not been updated yet. Psychologist Hartley, who studies how fear systems persist through the human lifespan, has found that the neural pathways responsible for fear responses are remarkably resistant to extinction. Even after you consciously override a fear, the pathway that generated it stays intact, available, ready. It does not disappear because you grew up in a safe house. It does not disappear because you have electricity and locked doors. It was built to be permanent. And that is the real answer. The unease you feel in a dark room, the way something in you shifts when the lights go out in an unfamiliar place, it is not weakness. It is not a flaw in your design. It is a survival system so effective, so precisely calibrated by millions of years of selection that your brain never had a reason to delete it. You are not afraid of the dark because you are small. You are afraid of the dark because your ancestors were smart enough to survive it. Tonight when the sun goes down, you'll check your phone. The screen will glow. The room will feel comfortable. And somewhere beneath that ordinary habit, an older part of you will do exactly what it was built to do. Scan the edges of the light, listen for what you cannot see, and take the darkness seriously, just like it always has.